Hello and welcome to New Earth Lifestyles. I am Janie King, the hostess of the show. Welcome. Glad that you're joining us today in downtown Manchester, New Hampshire, March 12, and tomorrow is Friday the 13th. But spring is in the air, the weather is warming up, and the snow is finally beginning to recede. So it's feeling like a great day, a wonderful day in the neighborhood. And New Earth Lifestyles is a show about giving you opportunities to look at life from a different perspective, from ways that you can heal your body, or ways that you can heal relationships, or simply ways that you can enjoy life better, whatever that may be for you. And so before we get to my special guest, I just wanted to remind everyone that if you wanted to see any of my past shows, from the past year or so, I do have a YouTube channel, and that is New Earth Lifestyles. You can Google it on YouTube, and you can see any of my past guests or past shows. And if you're wondering who I've had on my show, you can certainly go on my website, and I have pretty much everyone listed under the TV show heading on my website if you want to see who's been on the show, and then you can go onto YouTube and see what they had to say, because we explore all kinds of avenues of new ways of looking at life, of health and happiness and joy and music and whatever happens to be on the agenda. So thanks for joining us today. And today my special guest is Debby Hoffman Adair. And Debby is a speaker, author, and solutionist. And I met Debby in Hooksett, New Hampshire last fall at the Network Palooza. Welcome,
Network
Debby.
Palooza. Thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here.
Great. And it's a lovely day in the neighborhood.
Windy, but lovely.
Windy, yeah. I know who came in and my hair had to be kind of calmed down a little
I
bit.
had the windswept look.
It's kind of a natural look already. So, yes, and you also do the In the Presence of Positive Women.
Yes, I do. I have a wonderful organization that just sort of happened called In the Presence of Positive Women, or IPPW for short, because it is a mouthful.
Yeah.
And that's where the Network Palooza was put on by my Positive Women buddies.
Yes, and it was a positive event. I really enjoyed it.
Wasn't it fun? It was fun when you gather in positivity. I mean, you can't go wrong.
It's true. And that's what this show basically is about, is finding ways to be positive and uplift ourselves so that we can live our lives happier and more healthy and more successful. And that's what the IPPW women were all about that day. And you spoke at that event, which was your event.
Yes, it was. IPPW, we are all about positivity, possibilities, purpose, and prosperity. So that was the prosperity piece, to get people together to network and perhaps get new clients or make new friends. So everybody did. I think all of it was done.
I think so. I made some new friends that have already been on the show. I met Yvonne. And
isn't she lovely?
Yes, very lovely. And I think it's Nancy that does the legal shield.
Yes.
And
she's
so
great too. Yes.
Yeah, amazing. And you have an event coming up this weekend.
We do a gratitude event. We have a lovely speaker coming in, and it's I Am Grateful to You is the product, and we are all going to not only talk about gratitude, but make gratitude bracelets.
Wow,
so
let's go to that. Gratitude bracelets, wow.
I wear mine most of the time, but sometimes when I'm speaking or sitting here, I have a little chip on thing and it hits. So I didn't bring it today, but I always wear my gratitude because it reminds me to be grateful of everything that's happening.
Excellent.
Even sometimes the yucky things I have to be grateful for, because it's taking me on a new path, a path that I might not have wanted to go, but I needed to go to investigate some other aspect of my life.
Great, and it always shows you new possibilities that you wouldn't have thought of.
There you go. I'm like, I wouldn't have guessed this, but okay, we're going to go this way.
And I remember meeting, I forgot her name, the I Am Gratitude. Beth
Gross Santos.
Okay, Beth Gross Santos. I remember meeting her and being so drawn into that, because that's what I talk about on the show all the time. When I don't have a guest, I'm always talking about how powerful gratitude is for helping us change our lives for the better.
So you have to come out on Saturday to make the bracelet.
Make a gratitude bracelet, and she has that spiral insignia.
Yes, and all of her the bracelets are made. Well, the base is all of pits. something that people throw away. And she took these, she found olive pits. This is her story, but and she decided to make something beautiful out of them, and that's how all the bracelets have olive pits. And I wear mine all the time when I'm not trying to make noise. And I wear it in the shower. I wear it all the time. I never take it off.
Wow.
So that I'm amazed at how durable, and it's just lovely. And it sort of changes because as it gets older, the pits change a little bit. So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And
we could do the whole show about her.
We do.
You've got to have her here.
That's right. I guess I better do that. I'll go Saturday rather.
Saturday, come on over
and invite her on. So, what else do? You are an author and a transformational guide.
Yeah, I started off in 1993 with this little idea that perhaps I could be a motivational speaker. Actually, I wanted to be an informational speaker because I just had all this information on how to talk to people, how to change your life, and things like that. And no one believed that I could do it.
Wow.
It was really interesting because I had a lot lovely people in my life, but when I told them I was going to be a motivational speaker, their answer was, "Oh, really? Oh, well, good for you, Deb." You know, nobody said, "Oh, you'd be perfect." No.
Interesting.
But I said, well, I'm going to try. And here I am.
And here you are with a lovely, lovely business going and a lot of people following you and inspiring so many people.
I am so blessed. And they inspire me, too. So I just keep following the path and seeing where it's going to lead me. But I was not a very positive person. That's what a lot of my story was. I spent the first 30 years of my life. I'm not going to say I was mean or anything, but I was very negative. I grew up in a very negative environment. I mean, how else? I learned it. It was just the way life was. And it wasn't until I realized that I was so sad that I needed to make some changes that I said I went on the quest to happiness. Where is this going to take me?
The quest to happiness.
And it just took me. I used to be incredibly shy. I couldn't talk to people one-on-one. Never mind on the stage. But I was horrible at it. So I decided to fix that and to put myself in situations where I would have to talk to people. I'm not going to tell you it was easy. And I will tell you that many times I would go home. Let's say I went to an event, like a business after hours or a networking thing. I would come home and just cry, thinking I said the most stupidest thing. Nobody's going to like me.
Wow.
And it wasn't until I kind of changed the way I was thinking, because I was so self-absorbed. I was worried about what was I going to say, what was I going to do, how are people going to like me, that I forgot to, and I learned to turn it around and say, let me discover what makes you so wonderful. Talk to me about you, and getting people to chat. And then I learned, I began to give people compliments. That's another thing that started. And why? Well, because I thought I would never get to a point in my life where I would say, if one more person says something nice to me, I'm going to die.
Really?
You know, I was never going to get to that point. I liked it when people said nice things to me. I maybe didn't know how to react, but I liked it. So I thought, well, I like it. Maybe other people will like it. And I started talking to people and giving them compliments. And sometimes I'm a pretty visual person, so a lot of the times they might be the color that they're wearing, like that collar you got on. Oh my God, that's gorgeous. And I love your necklace. You know, I'm very visual, so I'm going to go to that. Or sometimes I would say something about their business card or their idea for a business or whatever. And then other times I would just kind of pick people out at random. So that sometimes I would see them in the crowd and I can give that person a compliment. But other times I would go and say, I don't know, I'm just going to get to know this person and find the compliment for them. So what it does is it forces you, if you're looking to give somebody a compliment, you have to be looking for the good. And if you're looking for the good, guess what happens? You find it.
You find it. Yoo-hoo.
But if you're looking for the bad, guess what? You'll find that too.
You'll find that too.
It's all in what you're looking for. And I didn't realize I was doing it, but I used to see all the bad in the world. I could pick myself apart, can tell you everything that was wrong with me. but I couldn't tell you what was right with me. I couldn't.
Interesting.
And so in the process of trying to learn to talk to people, trying to get over the shyness, trying to find that compliment for each person, it changed the way I saw the world, and it changed the way I saw myself.
Wow, how beautiful.
And so I can never go back.
No.
I could never go back. So I tell people, I did this starting when I was 30 years old. I'll be 59 this summer. So I spent 30 years being negative and 29 years being positive. And let me just tell you, being positive is so much more fun. Just so much better.
Absolutely.
Love it. I have the most incredibly wonderful life, and I believe it is because I made that transformation. And that's what I teach people. I teach them how to think differently, how to see the world a little differently.
Fantastic.
And they come with ideas, and I just spoke somewhere yesterday, and people were telling me at the end, coming up, talking about these people that drove them crazy. Oh, my coworker, I can't stand. How can I give a compliment to somebody that I don't like? I said, that's the one you got to give the compliment to. Right. It means you have to focus on their goodness. That people are both. I mean, they have all aspects.
That's right.
Find the good. And I really figured this out along the way, too. If you have someone that really, really bothers you, they're probably doing something that you might be doing, too.
Yeah.
And you're seeing yourself in them somehow.
Yeah, I have seen that.
I mean, I don't always like to say that because most people I like, and there's a few people that I choose not to have around me, but I really try to work on it for a while. There was a point where I say, okay, that person it's not gonna work, but I don't wish them evil, or I just say, okay, moving on.
Right. So you just know that they're not part of your they don't
just,
resonate with you.
It's not gonna
work. But
so there you go. So that's what I was telling the people last night, saying, look, you just try. It's not like they're ever going to be your best friends or anything. That's not the point. The point is to find their goodness.
Right.
And to relay it back to them.
And so what does that do for you when you find someone's goodness that you've kind of been resisting being around, or they've been rubbing you the wrong way? What does that do for you then?
Oh, it makes me feel much better.
How?
Well, again, you have to be looking for the good. So that right there changes it.
It
because
does.
You're looking for the good. And then you start seeing that people they're multifaceted. They're all different things. And what I would say, okay, I don't particularly care for that part of them, but that's okay. That's who they are. They're on their journey. Everybody has a journey, and let them go. But I don't have to get angry. I don't have to get upset with them. I don't have to take on their negativity. I can just say, okay, it's time to move on.
And that's the key, is that you're not taking on what you don't like about someone,
right,
or what rubs you the wrong way, or what doesn't resonate. You're not taking it on. You're changing. You're not even seeing that. You're not looking for that. You're looking for the good.
It stops.
Isn't that amazing?
It doesn't exist anymore because I don't play into that piece.
You don't go there anymore.
Yeah. I tell people say, do you ever have a bad day? I'm like, well, sure, I'm a human being. Holy cow. But now I've learned, like I used to, if somebody did something not nice to me, I would hold on to that for years, and even they would have forgotten about it or whatever, and I would hold on to it.
Right.
They did something. Well, I learned, no, that's not very healthy, and that's not helping me.
Absolutely
and
not.
so I slowly but surely got so that I could let it go a little bit quicker. I am now down to, if something really happens that bothers me, I actually do this. I put myself on a timer. I give myself 1 hour to be angry at that person, whatever. I could, sputter and whatever and stamp my feet. And I actually have the timer, and the timer will go off. And I will say to myself, okay, am I done with this, or do I need more? Most times I probably would need more. So then I say, okay, well, I can't afford the time right now. So I put it on my calendar, like, all right, tomorrow at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I will be angry again, okay? I have that extra hour that I could do it. And, of course,
you forget about it.
Even if the timer goes off, I'm like, oh, yeah, I don't need to be angry anymore. So I have to actually put myself, if it's that bad, most of the time I can just let it go after a few months. And I do, and I was mentioning this yesterday to the crowd. There's some times where you just need to be heard. Something happened and you just need to be heard. And I have several girlfriends, and we call ourselves the venting buddies. So the deal is, if I need to be heard, I call and I simply say, I need to vent. and it's already been pre-programmed. And I do the same thing if they call me. This is how it goes. Whenever they're talking and they're saying something, I say, this is, oh my God, that's awful. Oh, well, I can see why you would be upset. I would be upset too if that happened to me. Oh golly, yeah.
So you're supporting them the whole way.
And so then it goes, so what? And I never give advice. So then we'll say,
that's probably key.
So,
never give advice.
What are you going to do about it? And so it's a way to process.
Right.
And so when sometimes we, even positive people, need to process what is going on, the craziness, the insanity of this world.
Right.
It's already pre-done so that somebody has heard me. That's the thing. Just hear me. You don't need to fix it.
That's
just
right.
Somebody needs to know that, okay, this happened, and then I can
heard,
let it go.
And by someone compassionate and caring for me.
So venting buddies. It sounds like
venting
negative,
buddies.
But it's not. It's really, I have like 4 or 5
Have you
friends
written a book
that
about that? I think
I've got to do it. I've got to do that because its time has come.
Its time has come. Wow, that's a great process. Mm-hmm. And I imagine that you have some stories between each other of things that you vented, but not that you'd want to share those.
Actually, a lot of times we just kind of forget about it. The person that's listening remembers, but I'm like, yeah.
When did that happen? Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Great. Well, let's have a gong for venting buddies. Oh my gosh, what a great idea. Because I think that book, Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus, that's what he talks about in that book, is the difference between men and women is the fact that women need to vent, but they don't want someone to give them advice or tell them how to fix it. Whereas men might want someone to...
I always want to give advice. I mean, that's a general thing. My husband always loves to. If I tell him something, well, have you thought about, I don't want to think about this piece. I just want you to hear me.
That's right. We just want to be heard. Just want to be heard. And that's because that gets it out. It gets it out.
I need to let it go. And I think a lot of people, I used to, long time ago, I used to work for the Greater Concord Chamber of Commerce. And it was right after there was some big blow up and we lost membership and blah, 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 blah. And I came on board to be the membership director. So I would go back out and talk to the businesses and get them to come back to the chamber. Well, I got to this one little hotel. It was adorable. And I got there and they were just full of anger. And I really... that energy. So I started talking to them, and they told me all the horror stories that they had experienced with our chamber. I'm like, oh my God. I had been a member of the chamber for a while, so it was not like I just came into this thing. And I could not imagine it happening. And then I did this great thing. I asked them, when was this? And it had been like 20 years. And wow, they were reliving it as if it was just yesterday or something. Gosh. And that's when I started thinking, wow, some people hold on to things.
Right.
And I remember saying to these people, I'm like, you know what? I think everybody that worked at the chamber, that is probably, they're not there. They might be dead. I mean, so can we start again? Let's start. And they actually came on and I haven't been in that chamber for a long time, but they stayed for a long, they loved the chamber. But just seeing how venomous they were about something that had happened, and then it was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
Holy cow.
And
Come on.
How much illness can you bring up?
There you go.
There you go. Sure enough, worrying about something like that for 20 years.
Yes.
Wow.
But that's not alone. You talk to people about some family member that's did them wrong, and you haven't talked to your brother for 20 years, and you figure, well, what was going on? Well, something happened, something big. They can't even remember what it was.
Can't remember what it was. I know.
Don't hold on to that anger. Life is too short.
Yes, it is. That is. Well, so you've got some nice techniques for getting rid of that anger.
We try.
And I was curious about when you back in the 90s, when you were 30 or something that shifted you. What is it that made you want to shift? I mean, what was the big catalyst for all that? Because you've certainly turned your life around 180 or 360 degrees or whatever you want to say.
I'm not the same person. First of all, I'll back up and say, remember that I grew up in negativity. I grew up in a home that was, let's just say, dysfunctional. And it was dysfunctional for generations and all sorts of friends. I mean, it was just a crazy place to be.
And a lot of people do grow up with that type of family.
I know I'm not alone.
Right.
And now I can look back and say... have you ever heard the words, I see the world through rose-colored glasses.
Yes.
Well, I realized I saw it through rosé-colored glasses because there was a lot of alcohol. There was a lot of things going on. It was crazy. It was a party place, but yet no one was, and it was a very funny place, except that people were the brunts of the joke, and I was the brunt of a joke a lot of times. I didn't fit the mold. I'm a different kind of thinker. Possibilities. I was always saying way back then, oh, you know what I want to be when I grow up, big things. And my family would say, oh, no, you can't possibly do that. You're not that smart and all that.
Yeah.
So when you grow up like that,
sure, even
as you get into adulthood, you don't realize that you have that outlook. I had the rosé glasses kind of outlook and that's how I learned it. So by the time I get to 30, I actually have a business. I have I'm in a marriage. I have a nice house. I have 2 adorable children. But I am miserable, and I can't I don't know what's wrong. And I would actually go to counselors. This is the other thing. I would go to counselors, and they would say, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. Except that I knew there was.
The counselors would say that to you?
Oh, you're fine. This is normal. No, it's not.
Wow.
It can't be. Now, picture, this is almost 30 years ago.
30 years ago, yeah.
So I got to the point on my 30th birthday, I had made a plan that I was going to check out. I was going to end it all.
Really?
I knew exactly that was the date. My gift was I'd had enough, and I had stockpiled some pills and things like that. But God is so good, because an angel intervened.
Wow.
The angel in the form of my 5-year-old daughter.
Oh.
I had 2 beautiful children, but I was overwhelmed. Both of those children had a lot of medical issues at the time. I ran a business out of our home. I so many things that were going on. I never had any free time. I never had any friends. I didn't know a lot of people. I was really shy. And when you run your business out of your home, way back then, people, right? You don't meet a lot of people. The poor mailman, every time I saw that, at least I had a human person to talk to. But I got to the point, and on that day, my little daughter came up to me, and she spoke these words that changed my life. And this is what she said. She said, Mommy, can I have a hug? And it was like this little switch that
wow.
What am I? She has such beautiful blue eyes and blonde hair, and she was just looking up to me with the cutest little face. And I thought, what was I thinking?
Yeah.
I can't leave her.
Right.
I can't do that. And never mind, I had a son and other things. And it just took me several months to really ponder. I mean, obviously, I didn't do it. I tell people, I never attempted suicide. There would not have been an attempt. I would have done it because I was a perfectionist at that moment. Everything had to be perfect because I had to live in this perfect world that was created or whatever.
Okay.
So it took me several months to ponder this, but I lived at Concord at the time, and there's a hotel on the side of 93, and it put little sentences, things. And we've all heard this one, but it hit me at the right time. It said, "Life is a journey, not a destination." And it went into my head that, oh, wait a minute, I'm not dead yet. I could change. What if I make a commitment that I'm going to figure out this happiness thing? What would happen if I chose a life? I could see other people seemed happy. Why can't I be happy? Why can't I have what they have? And that became the quest. And I actually got a different counselor, of which I sat that counselor down, and I took control because I said, I am not fine. There's something wrong. I don't know what it is, but either you're going to help me or I'm going to find somebody else. That was the first time that I actually took control, as opposed to going to a counselor and just sitting there saying, fix me.
Right, right.
Wow, big difference. And with that counselor, I was with him for about 7 or 8 years. And at that time, I had insurance that I could go every single week.
Sure.
And I worked on myself. And I discovered again that I was incredibly shy, and that probably wasn't serving me very well. So, okay, it terrified me to think of going into events where I don't know people. Terrified me. As a matter of fact, the very first time I went, I couldn't go in. I made myself so sick I could not go through the door.
Wow.
But the universe is good. The very next time I made a commitment that I was going to go in, even if I had to come right back out. And the story, this is true. I ended up winning this grand door prize that people were like just coming up and talking to me all the time. And I thought, you know what? I'm okay if they come and talk to me. I have a hard time going out and talking to them. And so I had to learn to set up my life as, how can I get people to come and talk to me? Well, the idea was really I had to go out and talk to them, and I had to go and reach out. And it changed the way I thought. So it's been a long process, but I figured in 3 years it took me before one day I woke up and said, I think I'm happy.
Only 3
really
years. That's not bad.
It's not bad from going from I want to check out.
Right.
To,
I mean, the worst.
I didn't say I was the person that I am now. I mean, I'm continuing growing and growing and growing and challenging myself. But I always do something that scares me. I've learned that if it doesn't, I do lots of different things, but I like the things that scare me are usually the things that I'm really supposed to do.
Interesting.
Because the shy person that never talked to anybody, oh my golly, you want to kill me now is let me not talk to people. I love to talk to people. This is my life. I talk to people. I talk to people on the street corner. I mean, I just talk to people all the time.
Beautiful, because
so
that's
it was
exactly
my
where
true self.
I've been.
My true self was I was supposed to be talking to people, and the fear was, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't do it. So back to, and then with the speaking and being the seminar person, and it terrified me. But I kept being asked to be on television, be on the radio, be on doing things because people noticed how well I could talk to people. It became like I became the best person talking to people. So they wanted, what's your secret? Would you come on my radio show? would you come on my TV show? Kill me now. It terrified me. I did it, and people said I did okay, but I could, you know what? I have a recording on WKXL probably in 1990.
Really?
They put me on I was with the Kiwanis or whatever, and I had to do something for the Kiwanis Club. I still have a cassette of that show, the voice. I never listened to it. I can't listen to myself. I don't like to watch myself, too.
Really?
I can listen to myself now, but that cassette, I don't even have a cassette player.
Was that your first one? Yeah.
But I have it to remind myself of how far I came, because then
25 years.
It about 8 or 9 years ago, WKXL asked me to host a live radio show every Monday.
Wow.
And I remember like, oh my God, I still have that cassette. I haven't listened. So it scared me enough that I had to do it. And I had a show there for 3.5 years, live radio every Monday. I had a blast, but it scared me to do it.
You.
I tell people, what's really scaring you?
What's really scaring
you? You gotta go.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not jumping out of an airplane or something yet.
Well, that's what I was picturing, you jumping out of airplanes. But
no,
you
because
haven't gone that route.
It doesn't call to me. I may, who knows?
Yeah.
But it was far scarier going like on TV or something like that.
Yeah, in front of
that
people.
was scaring. But now I know.
So that is the key then. What scares you?
Because if it doesn't scare you, then maybe it's not the direction. I use this as an example. I could be a brain surgeon. It wouldn't scare me at all.
Really?
Wouldn't scare me at all. I shouldn't do it because I don't think I'd be very good. But I'm like, sure, I could do that. It's not. It doesn't really call to me. It has no power whatsoever.
So when you say scared, what happens when you're scared for you? I mean, because there's a difference between cutting into somebody's head, being a brain surgeon. I mean, you don't know how to do that really, but it doesn't scare you. But what does that mean to be scared? I mean, does it do something to your adrenaline? Does it make you blank out, or how does it affect you?
The immediate thing I'm going in my head is, nope, not me, no. And I'll come up with all these reasons why I can't possibly do something.
Ah, okay.
And I will stop myself so I can't. Or and sometimes, this is the old me, I would say yes to things and find a way to get out of it. Not show up, get ill, something was going to happen. Oh, I can't do it. No, I'm sorry.
Right, that's one of mine.
So I changed that because now, no matter what, if I say I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. I mean, I got to be really, really sick not to do something. I've got to, Even some things I sign up for, I'm like, oh, why did I sign up for that? I don't really want to do that. I still do it because I know that there's some value into it, that I'm going to find something.
So there's something about the resistance that even there's the fear factor, but now it's feeling like more of a resistance to doing something that you've agreed to do, or even if there's a resistance to it.
I get excited. I get excited about lots of things. So I have to really be careful of my time, and I'm getting better at that too.
Right.
But
you're a very busy person these days.
There's very little that scares me anymore. And the reason is
that's
because
great. Very little
because I've already
scares you.
faced all of these fears. So no matter what it is, back to the brain surgeon, it doesn't interest me. But if it did interest me, and I'll be 60 years old, and it did interest me, I would say, okay, well, I'm going to have to take some courses. Maybe you have to go to medical school, and I have to do this. And I would start this process if it interests me. But it doesn't interest me, so, let's say not brain surgeon, but I could be a surgeon. I could do animals, whatever the thing is. If they need it, it would not frighten me.
Right.
But I'm not supposed to do it because there's no passion.
There's no resonance.
It'd be like, I think somebody else can do a much better job than me. But I used to, if it was a speaking engagement, or if I heard of something, there's somebody else that can do a much better job than me. No, I'm the one. I have to be the one because I'm pushing it away because of my fear, not for any other reason. And I'm not allowing myself to say, Debbie, you do a good job. I'd be like, oh no, I'm sure somebody else can do a better job. That's how I would put it off.
Sure. So you've hit a point there of our self-value or self-worth, or how we care about ourselves. It gets projected out there as fear. And so that's part of the process, isn't it, to learn to love yourself, learn to care about that you can do this and you're good at this.
Even if I'm not good at it, I'm going to give it a try. Because I hear a lot of people, when I'm speaking, they'll say, I could never do what you do. And I'll say, well, actually you could, if you wanted to. If you didn't want to, then that's a whole other story. And I'm not saying that I'm the best speaker in the world, although I'm pretty darn good. The reason I'm really good is because I've been bad so long, and I kept doing it. I kept doing it.
Well, your opinion of you was that you were bad so long. But a lot of people didn't think you were bad.
Because people that hear me now, as opposed to maybe 10 years ago, they're like, oh my God, you're fabulous. And I'm like, yeah, but you saw me back then. It's anything you do, you have to try and try and try. I mean, I'm sure your show has gotten better and better and better as you've done it.
I would hope so. Yeah, I think it has.
Well,
my passion has grown and grown and grown.
There you go. And it's everything. So I think a lot of people will try something and it doesn't work out for them that time, so they give up.
Lots of times.
I have been. I tell people I put on a seminar series because nobody was hiring me. Remember, nobody. Oh, isn't that nice, Debbie? So I put on a series where I had people come in, and the first time, so I was the speaker, I was producing it, and people were going to come. The very first time I did it, not one person showed up. Not one, zero.
Wow.
Well, the old Debbie would have said, "Oh, look. Nobody came. I'm not supposed to do it. It's too high." But the new Debbie was like, oh, all right, what do I have to do to get more people here? What do I have to do for the next time? And the next time I had two. I had two people. Woo-hoo.
Wow.
And then by the time I had planned 6 of them, and by the time the 6th one came, I had 25, which is what I wanted.
Wow.
But had I given up back then, and I think a lot of people give up.
From 0 to 25, that's great.
And it was a 6-week period, and I figured out, like, what did I do wrong? What do I need to fix? How do I get people in there? Because if they weren't going to, what I wanted them to do is hear me speak and hire me to come into their organizations.
I see.
So that was the whole goal, and when nobody shows up, it's kind of
sad.
I mean, it was really sad. But now I got a great story. Isn't that a great story?
That is a great story.
But at the time, I remember thinking, this is not very good. I wanted at least a couple people, you know. Okay,
so how did you change? Because you really stuck with it. I mean, like you said, a lot of people would say, "Oh, I'm not supposed to do this because nobody showed up." So, how did you stay aligned to this purpose of?
Because I didn't want to go back to the negative person. I wanted to be alive. I wanted to be a good example for my children.
Okay.
I didn't want them. At the time, I said I don't want them on a psychiatrist's couch when they grow up. Now I say to anybody, I'm like, look, if you got an issue, deal with it. Go to a counselor, but don't stay there forever. Just know that you're going to do and work on that problem.
Right.
But I see the value because it is very valuable. Even to this day, if I'm going through something that's a trying part of my life, I will go to counseling, and I go to a different counselor every time. I go to a counselor that doesn't know me. When I was going through a divorce, it was very, very difficult. I went to a counselor that I didn't know. I wanted a fresh perspective, and I really wanted somebody just to hear me, all the craziness that was going on. And when I was done, and I eventually met my now husband, I think she wanted me to continue. And I said, no, I think I'm done. I'm done. I know. I am ready to go on to whatever. So I always go back and,
So you've come from a place of giving your power away to holding onto your power and being proactive and doing what you need to do in counseling and in your life. And when it's done, and knowing those times.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people stay too long.
Yep.
Maybe they don't go in the first place, but I always this is too tough for me to do it by myself. And I want to make sure that I'm not missing something, because I want to get through it so that it's done. In other words, one of the things about that particular time is I was able to let everything that was going on go a lot faster so that I would be open to the new possibility of new love. I did not want that thing to destroy my future. And I wanted to be able to let go, forgive, and move on, because I met my now husband pretty quickly after all that.
Oh, wow.
And we literally fell in love in 4 days.
Wow.
I had said out a prayer, please God, send me the most wonderful man, meaning for me. I get it now. I deserve the most wonderful man. I think he's out there. I think he's looking for me. And when he sees me, let him know it's me. That last line I put, because I don't drink. I don't know where I'm going to meet this person, but and we met, and 4 days later, he said to me, he goes, "We're going to spend the rest of our life together, aren't we?" I said, "Yes, we are."
Wow.
It was 4 days, and though I go back to the prayer, my joke with him is, "What took you so long?"
4 days. Yeah.
But we were engaged in 3 weeks, and we were married in 5.5 months.
Wow.
And this August we'll be celebrating 6 years together.
Congratulations.
And so
woohoo.
the counseling piece, I'm bringing that up, is because I knew I was going through some difficult times. Right. It was crazy. It was hard. It was dismantling a 30-year marriage was not an easy task.
No, 30
So I didn't
years.
want to go it alone. Like I needed, because I have wonderful friends, but they all love me, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
But I wanted somebody that didn't know me, that didn't have any emotional attachment, that I could say these were going on, this is what's happening, and they could give me that perspective of the truth. Right. And I knew I needed to work on that piece so that I'd be able to let it go to move on to my life. I did not want what was going on clouding my future.
Right.
And it didn't, because there you go.
There you go. You're happily married for 6
there
years.
There you go.
And, wow, beautiful, Debbie.
So,
wow. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, 6 years and happily married, and you met the man of your dreams, and you said that amazing prayer.
I know. I teach people about affirmations now, because I was actually doing that affirmation for a couple of years, because I knew that I needed to end that relationship, was not a healthy one that I was in. I also knew that I knew there was somebody out there looking for me. I really knew that. I'm not meant to not be in a relationship. That's what I know. I'm a Cancer girl. I'm a family person. I know that about me. For my own happiness, I wanted a partner that would want to actually be my partner, actually have a life. And he's a terrific man, and
great
meditator, and Gnostic instructor. So I'm like,
really? Wow.
And I wanted to keep my old house and turn it into a spiritual retreat center. I had gardens, I loved it, but I couldn't do it. And on the last day I was there, I knew I had this little premonition that I would have gardens again. Well, I meet this man through eHarmony. But I wasn't going on to date, actually. I was going on to write an article about dating again after 30 years of marriage. I was going to write an article.
Wow.
And he was the first match up. But
wow.
I pushed send at 6 o'clock on that Sunday. It was a free weekend of eHarmony, so I'm like, sure, it's free. And 1 week to the day, on 6 o'clock on Sunday, we met. And I knew his name was Rick. And I chose Richard's Bistro down the street from here now, but it's not there anymore. And as I got ready to go, I said to myself, I hope Tom is nice. I'm like, Tom? What the heck is that? His name is Rick. I know that. And I was living in an apartment down here right on Elm Street. Got down the bottom of the elevator, and I said, I hope Tom shows up. And I'm like, his name's not Tom, his name is Rick. I know this. So as I walk into Richard's Bistro, in a snowstorm, by the way, I'm going, Rick, so that I will
remember the name.
Yeah, so I don't screw it up. I get there, and he goes, oh, this is a lovely restaurant that I had chosen. I said, well, I chose it because of your name. And this is what he said. He said, what would you do if I told you my real name was Thomas?
Wow.
I said, I would know that. How did I know that?
Wow.
And so all of these things, and then he said, would you like to see a picture of my house on his iPhone? I'm like, sure, whatever. And he shows me this most beautiful home. It's in Milford, New Hampshire. It was a 3-story mansard roof colonial. And he said he bought it a year ago because he wanted to open up a spiritual retreat center.
Oh, my.
I'm like, really?
Whoa.
I've never met a man that wanted a spiritual retreat center, but just bought the house. He said, yeah, I bought it, but I've never done one because I don't know what to do with it. He says, oh, by the way, it's on 6 acres. 4 acres are lawns and gardens. I'm like, wow, who are you?
Wow, thank you.
So all these things happened that I knew that he was the man for me.
Yeah.
And we have since moved, and actually we're going to be moving again. We're going to go on a year or two adventure traveling the country.
Lovely.
So we're selling our house. And,
you are.
And we're going to do this, and I'll still be around this area a lot because he has a young daughter, and my parents are around here. But he's retired. He's a writer. I could go wherever I want. I speak all over, but I fly or whatever. And we thought, this would be kind of an adventure. Let's try it this way. So we're going to do it.
How cool.
Up to 2 years, maybe more.
Wow.
Actually, we were going to do a year, and then we looked at all the places that we really wanted to see, and we're like, this has got to be 2 years.
So is this all just the United States?
For now, yeah. I mean, we're driving, so it has to be driving. We talk about, I know Alaska is in the United States, but you have to go
through
Canada. Like, well, let's see other places first. So we don't know if we decide that we love it so much.
Well, that sounds like fun.
It is. And that's another piece to happiness and positivity. Is you've got to, again, if you had told me I was going to do this, sell a house, have no house now.
Wow.
And getting rid of a lot of our material stuff.
Right.
Putting some things in storage, but having no base.
No base.
I thought
Footloose
if you had told me that
free.
Before, it would have scared me. But so this is this started off as a scary thing.
Oh yeah.
I'm much better, and I'm now excited about it. But
yeah,
again, you have to do something out of your comfort zone,
right?
And see what the possibilities. Because I don't know what the universe has in store for me.
Right.
Nobody does.
No, none of us.
Really. Everybody thinks that they can predict what their life is. This is what it's going to be.
No,
you
can't.
can't do that. You
Absolutely.
have to, and if you could, what fun would that be? Really? It's the unexpected that I would meet this man at Richard's Bistro. And all because I wanted to write an article. Because I was really, at that moment in time, I was really sad. I was going through, I was divorced and everything, but it was all stuff was catching up to me. So I knew I needed to do something that made me happy. And writing made me happy. So I actually got a magazine that was interested in having the article. So I'm like, oh, well, I better go in this eHarmony thing. Let's go. It's free. Let's try it. And from all that, now I have this wonderful life with this wonderful man. And
wow. So when you got on eHarmony, how did did he say anything about his spirituality or any?
It was.
How did you hook up? How did you know this was a good match at the time?
I didn't.
Oh.
But I was writing an article, and so I was going to write to every one of them.
So you just, I see. So it's just the first guy that came along?
There was the first day up, I got 10 matches. The first one was Rick from Melford, New Hampshire.
Oh, wow.
But the second one was Rich from Melford, Massachusetts.
Oh, my
And there's
gosh.
no photos because it's free.
Right.
I'm like, and I'm going to write to I was writing to all of those 10, but
Okay.
I'm like, gee, how am I going to tell these two apart? Because they're so Rick and Rich and Melford, New Hampshire.
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, I'll have to actually look at their bio. So I looked, and I couldn't see their pictures, and I don't know if they could see mine, but Rick from Melford, New Hampshire, I could see, he put, there in the eHarmony, there's 5 things you cannot live without. Mine is God, my children, but my others was my my cell phone, my car, and my computer. And the reason is because I did not have a lot of money at the time, so I could see that maybe someday coming down the pike, I could be homeless. But I had a car. I could live in the car. Mm-hmm. Cell phone was how I connected to everybody, and the computer was how I wrote. So those are the things that I put. Now his were morning tea, attention, the truth, and afternoon tea. So I looked at that and I said, well, I like tea, so I called him the tea guy. He is still the tea guy to this day.
Yes,
he's on the phone, the tea guy. And so I sent a note out to all these 10 people. He immediately wrote back to me.
Wow.
And then he wanted to go slow in the process of eHarmony, so you have to like pick a question out of and then he sent it. So then when it was time that he could ask me any questions, he asked me these 3 questions that were like these philosophical things. Like, I'm looking at him saying, who the heck asks questions like this? And then I remember saying, well, buddy, little do you know, I can write. So I wrote this essay based on one of his questions. And from what I wrote, he figured out who I was. And I'm like, oh my God, I just was Debbie from Manchester at that time. And so this all happened during that week. We actually spoke on the phone on Saturday. So that would have been Saturday, February 21st. We had like 3 hours. We just talked. We had a grand time.
Wow.
And he said he wanted to meet me. Well, I was traveling a lot at that moment. And in the next 2 weeks, the only day I could really see him was the very next day, which would be February 22nd. So I said, well, Sunday, tomorrow, would you like to meet? He's like, this is his answer. I don't know. Okay, well, are you busy? He said, no. Okay.
Well,
he's a Vietnam veteran, and long story short, his whole entire crew had been killed on that day 39 years before.
Oh, my.
So he says, every February 22nd, even if I don't realize it's February 22nd, I have a bad day. So I don't think that would be the day that I want to meet you. Of which I said, well, don't you think maybe you should have something else happen on February 22nd? I said, how do we know where this is going to go? We don't know. But one thing we do know is we had a great conversation. So maybe we're just destined to be friends. I don't know. But why not? Give it a shot. And so that's when we met. And February 22nd is now, we actually celebrate that day more than we do our anniversary.
Wow, so your happiness theory is now moved into his life to help him be happy on a day that used to be very sad
now
for
it's
him.
Our celebrating day.
Wow.
And so
isn't that great?
It
what
is.
A great
it
story.
is. But he did try something new, and
yeah.
And he's become an amazing speaker on his own, because he's had other things that happened on February 22nd throughout his life before he met me. And I'm like, you do know that's a speech. You do know that is God was been talking to you for all this time. And he was a very spiritual man anyway. So he has done the speeches about February 22nd, about all the things that happened on those days that led him to me.
To you.
And now,
Yoo-hoo.
yeah, because we'll have to say, oh, it's our anniversary. Oh, yeah, it's August 15th. But we know the day we met, February 22nd.
Wow.
And for me to know his name was Tom, and all of these, and for him to have the spiritual retreat center. And
I mean, it's like everything was waiting. Like you said, you knew someone was out there waiting for it, and it all just sort of came together like pieces in a puzzle. And like God, this consciousness was waiting for this time for it all to happen. And now you look so happy.
And I am, and I have the most wonderful life. I have a wonderful husband, and that doesn't mean that we don't have our issues, because we do. I tell people, you can fall in love very quickly, but you still have to get to know people, how they let they live.
Sure.
But now, we're RVing, we're actually going to be living in a van, but it's going to be renovated to fit our needs. So the joke is, I'm going to be a motivational speaker living in a van down by the river. But the other part is, I can't imagine anyone living with another person other than him in a small van. It'll be a good size, and we're working on it, and he's putting it all together, and so it'll be driven by gasoline, but it'll be all run on solar.
Wow, and, fabulous!
Everything. So we're putting in this van stuff that we want to be able to go wherever we want to go and not have to worry about electricity, so we can go out in the middle of the woods if we want, and or see the country or.
Wow.
Whatever.
Fun. Sounds like the dream of a lifetime.
And we're going to write about it. And but anyway, that goes back to, there's nobody else I would rather be in a small...
right.
With 2 cats and a dog. Oh, yeah.
You got to take your animals with you.
Good. Yeah. Sure, why not?
See, they're your family. You can't leave them behind.
Fur kids. I can't. That's what I said. They have to go, honey.
Wow. When do you plan to leave?
We will officially leave next November because we have the network Palooza to do.
Okay.
And we're going to take a lot of short trips until our house is sold. But we'll still be around here because I do have a lot of speaking engagements already planned here.
Okay.
And you know what? I like it around here. We like it around here.
Yeah.
Not
Beautiful.
in the winter.
Well, especially this winter.
Not in the winter, and I don't ever need to see that again. I've had my fill of snow. So right after November, I have a retreat, and then I have something else that's going on for speaking, and so we'll leave for the rest of the country. Where we're going to go, I don't know, but
so you haven't made a plan
November,
of direction.
We have. I mean, we're going out to California. We have a lot of my daughter, his son, his brother. Everybody's out there. But as we get out there, we'll decide where we want to go.
Wow!
We're taking the test ride in a few weeks. We're going to Colorado.
Great.
We'll be gone for 3.5 weeks and
go to
Colorado, Texas, and New Mexico.
Oh my!
And then come back.
Beautiful. That is just amazing, Debbie.
I know. So the moral to the story is, you know, if you're having a bad time in your life, I know you have to be willing to make some changes.
You can turn it around. You are living proof. You can turn it around. Happiness is available to all of us.
It is.
It is, and you've proven that. So you focus on the sadness or the bad. Not focus on it, but in the beginning, you saw it and you knew you wanted to change it. You don't want to be there anymore. You want to change it, and you can.
And you can.
And just like with your divorce, you made a choice to get into counseling to help you through that in a specific way. So you really have a way of focusing in on the problem and dispersing it, or getting it out of your life so that you can continue to be happy.
It's recognizing those problems.
Recognizing,
like, okay,
sure.
This is not what I would prefer right now.
Right.
Okay, and that's where I became the solutionist. Any problems, it's like, I'm a problem solver. I know exactly.
The Solutionist. Debbie is the Solutionist. So contacting Debbie, if you want to contact her, it's Debbie at DebbyAdair.com. That's DEBBY at DebbyAdair, ADAIR.com. And you are in Amherst, New Hampshire?
For now.
For now. But you'll be on the road. You'll be on
Where's
the road
your
soon.
address? Oh, the USA.
That's beautiful. That's wonderful. It's like the dream of a lifetime. You found your dream man, and so is he actually building the van for you?
He is. He bought the van. He figured out what we wanted. He bought it. He wouldn't get it under New York, and we're slowly. It was really too cold to work on it, but he's got everything. But when we go to Colorado, the reason we're going out there is because he's researched. We want to put a top on the thing so that it'll pop up.
Okay.
And so that needs to go on before we finalize putting all the cabinetries and stuff like that.
I see.
But it'll be all insulated before we leave.
Great.
The floor will be in, and we'll put a mattress for the bed. But then we go out there, and we have to leave it there for a week. So that's where, and I'm speaking in Texas, so I'm like, all right, honey, we're going to drive to Texas, and then we have friends in Texas just to visit, and then we have friends in New Mexico, so we'll make the whole complete, because the van has to be there for a week anyway. So.
I see, so they're doing some work on it for you.
Yeah, so anyway, instead of just sitting around, I was like, oh, well, let's see.
Very productive. It'll be a
productive other people, what else we can do. And
that's right. Fun. Well, this is great, Debbie. This has been wonderful having you on the show with all this amazing stories that are true, that have helped you to change your life, to be a happy, healthy, productive life that you have been living and continue to improve and grow upon. And now going on the road and doing it on the road. My gosh, what better way can there be to live?
Where is this going to take me? I don't know, but it's an adventure. And again, life is really an adventure. If you make it. You can make it, or you can just sit on the couch and feel miserable. You could do that if you wanted to, I suppose. But what fun would that be?
Right, and that's what I'm all about, having fun.
And changing lives. I mean, I really do have a goal of changing the world one person at a time.
And you're doing that now. You're
we'll
doing
see.
it
Yes.
with your speaking engagements and with your in the presence of positive women and with you being a solutionist. I mean, being a solutionist. Wow, that is amazing. Whatever that means. Well, it means giving people solutions, helping people find the solution to their happiness.
That's right. So, I mean,
happiness and joy. That's so great. Any closing thoughts? We have a couple minutes left. When are you speaking? Or you have the event coming up on Saturday, but what else will you be doing in the short term?
Well, we're going to be I'm putting together a motivation-a-thon.
Motivation-a-thon!
I've done it 5 years in a row. I try to do it to raise money for different charities. This time, we usually do it right around this time, but this particular, I really didn't know who I wanted to raise money for. And we've got a cause that we're going to be helping a young boy who needs a service dog because I guess he has diabetes and he wants to get a particular. And my husband is being a vet. We have a veteran. We have a service dog. So service dogs are close to my heart. Oh. That's why our dog can come with us. Our dog can go anywhere because she's a service dog and she knows how to travel.
I see.
So we found out that a young boy needed a service dog and raised money to get the
lovely.
service dog.
What a great
So it's all being put together, but KW Real Estate in Nashua is going to help us.
Okay.
And it will be sometime in June. So we're putting that together. And what that is I get people to speak for me for free. All the top speakers that I know come in and do a 45-minute presentation.
Wow.
And people can come to hear. It's all day long. We'll be going every 45 minutes. Another speaker will be up. It's all about motivation. That's the only thing I tell them. There has to be a motivation. It can't be like a sales training or something like that.
Right.
And people can come and spend the whole day, or they can just go hear one speaker. We don't charge because I believe that anybody that just needed some motivation, just come. But we ask, there's a big donation bucket.
Excellent.
People throw money in to raise.
That's a great cause. Well, thank you for that, Debbie. Nice thing to close on is that look up Debbie's website or email Debbie at debbieadair.com for more information on that lovely event. It'll be a promotion for a great cause. So thank you for joining us today, and I hope all is well with you. Thank you for joining me, Debbie. And remember, your heart knows the way.